Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into the exciting, and let's be honest, kind of tricky world of third-party AI services. Everyone's scrambling to get AI in their corner, but how do you actually pick the right partner without getting burned? Let's figure out how to do it the smart way.
Now, before we jump in, a quick note. This whole explainer is coming straight from Chapter 6 of a tutorial by Virtualization Options LLC. We're going to stick right to that source material to give you the clearest possible picture.
All right, so you're thinking about buying an AI solution, right? I mean, that's awesome. Tapping into these powerful tools can feel like you're unlocking a superpower for your business, giving you a serious competitive edge.
But, and there's always a but, isn't there? While these tools offer just incredible power, the really big risks, they're not usually in the cool tech itself. Nope, they're buried deep in the fine print of the service agreement. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack, how to get all that power without the peril.
Okay, first up, you've got to understand that not all AI services are the same, not even close. You can pretty much break the entire market down into 4 main flavors of service. So let's take a look at what they are.
So, first on the list, you've got what's called AI as a Service APIs. The best way to think about these is like you're renting a very specific skill from the cloud. So instead of trying to build, say, a language translator from scratch, you just rent one on demand. Simple as that.
Next, we've got AI development platforms. Now, these are for a totally different crowd. This is for when you don't just want to rent a skill, you want to build your own. These platforms give you the whole toolkit, all the infrastructure, everything you need to create your own custom AI models, right from the ground up.
Then you've got this awesome middle ground, pre-trained models. These are basically ready to go right out of the box for common jobs. But, and this is the really cool part, you can fine-tune them with your own data. It's like getting a huge head start in a race, combining speed with custom power.
And last but not least, we have AI-powered software solutions. Think of business software where the AI is already baked right in. With these, you're not just buying an AI piece, you're buying the whole shebang, a complete end-to-end solution designed for a specific industry or problem.
Okay, so now you know the 4 flavors. Great, but how on earth do you pick the right vendor? This is where you need a real playbook, something that takes you from just a gut feeling to a smart, data-driven choice.
And the heart of that playbook, it's this 5-step risk assessment process. You start with a basic screening, then you do a deep technical dive and a risk analysis, then you get to negotiating the contract. But look at that last step, ongoing monitoring. This is so important. It doesn't stop when you sign the check.
So what are you actually looking for in that assessment? Well, this framework lays it all out. You need to be grilling potential vendors on these key areas. For data security, you're asking, how's my data encrypted? Who has access? For AI model quality, have you tested this thing for bias? And for reliability, what's your uptime guarantee? What happens when things go wrong? See? This takes all the guesswork out of it. All right, let's talk about the part where everybody gets tripped up, the fine print. This stuff, how a vendor handles your data, your privacy, and what's actually written in that contract, it's absolutely 100% critical.
Rule number 1, and you cannot skip this, you have to classify your data before you even think about sharing it. You can see the difference here, right? Public data? Sure, maybe there are no rules, but that really sensitive, restricted data? You probably shouldn't let a third party touch that, period. Knowing that difference is your best defense.
Okay, when you finally get to that contract, think of this list as your absolute must-have non-negotiables. You need ironclad security requirements, firm performance standards, we're talking SLAs, service level agreements, and total clarity on who owns the data. You also got to have the right to audit them. And of course, what happens if things go south? Who's liable? If a vendor balks at any of this, that's a huge red flag.
And that brings us to one last but really important shift in how you need to think about all this. You know, signing the contract, that's not the finish line. It's actually the starting gun for a whole new relationship that needs careful management.
And honestly, if you take just one thing away from all this, let it be this. Choosing an AI vendor isn't like buying a piece of software off the shelf. It's not a one-and-done deal. It's a partnership. And like any good partnership, it needs constant attention and management to make sure it's still working for you and, most importantly, keeping you safe.
So, I'm going to leave you with a question. When you look at the vendors you're working with, or the ones you're thinking about, ask yourself, is this a real strategic partner that's going to help us win? Or is it just a ticking time bomb that we haven't found the timer on yet? The answer to that question really comes down to how well you do your homework, how tough you are on that contract, and how you manage that relationship for the long haul.